Last year, Capital One put its foot down and released the Venture X card in spite of existing premium travel credit card competition. Fast forward to today, and we all know how wildly popular and valuable the Venture X card has become. However, in this video, I want to introduce you to the recently launched bigger brother, which is the Capital One Venture X business credit card. And you've probably never heard of this card before because reason number one, it just got announced, and reason number two is because it's harder to get than your typical business credit card. Of course, I will explain later how you could get your hands on one, but did you know that this card technically existed for almost a year now? It was originally released in July 2022 as the Capital One Spark Travel Elite card, but it wasn't until the beginning of February 2023 that they decided to rebrand it as the Venture X business card instead. Here we could see that Capital One took a note from Amex's playbook by naming their business cards the same as the personal version, but you add business at the end. Amex Platinum, business, Amex Gold, business, and now the Venture X, business. But unlike American Express, Capital One also copied more than just the name of the personal version of this card, and this is where things get interesting. You see, with the Amex Platinum and the Amex Platinum Business, you fundamentally have two different credit cards. Sure, you have the same exact annual fee, but you get different reward multipliers, credits, and even benefits from both cards. The same goes for the Amex Gold business card. But when we take a closer look at the Venture X Business, we pretty much just have the regular Venture X. They both cost $395 a year. They both earn 10x on your car rentals and hotels, then 5x on flights, all booked through the Capital One portal, and 2x on everything else. They both give you a 10,000 miles anniversary bonus. They both have a $300 annual travel credit for bookings through Capital One. They both give you Priority Pass lounge access, Plaza Premium, and Capital One lounge access, and they both have a $100 TSA pre-check credit or global entry credit every 4 years. At first glance, that may not really be a bad thing though, right? I mean, we raved about the normal Venture X and how the benefits and credits easily outweigh the annual fee every year. So maybe it's a good thing that we now have access to two of the same great credit card. But before we get a little too excited, what is different about these two credit cards? And who is the Venture X business card good for? If you have or want the Venture X, should you get the Venture X business as well? Those are some of the questions that I'll answer throughout the video. However, to truly start to understand the Venture X business, we need to take a look at those differences we just talked about. It really boils down to three major differences between the personal Venture X and the business Venture X. The first major difference is that the Venture X business card is a charge card, while the personal Venture X is a normal credit card. A charge card has no preset spending limit. However, you must pay your statement balance in full every month. If not, you will be charged a monthly 3% late fee. Having no preset spending limit is beneficial for two reasons. The first is that it doesn't get reported to your overall credit utilization, except the Venture X Business is a business credit card, so it wouldn't affect your personal credit utilization anyway, even if it was a normal credit card. And the second reason why having no preset spending limit is great is because you typically can charge more on a charge card than you can on a credit card. For example, the minimum credit limit that you could get on the personal Venture X is $10,000. But I'm willing to bet that the minimum credit line or spending power you get on the Venture X Business is much higher than $10,000. Although there is no preset spending limit on the Venture X Business, there is still a limit to the spending power that you have. That spending power will vary depending on several factors such as your credit score, spending history, and payment history. Capital One also has a handy tool like how Amex does to confirm spending power before you make a large purchase. Some of you may already be familiar with how a charge card works because both the personal Amex Gold and Amex Platinum are charge cards. And that brings us to the second major difference between the normal Venture X and this new business Venture X, which is its sign-up bonus. At its peak, the Personal Venture X offered a sign-up bonus of 100,000 Capital One miles and a one-time $200 vacation rental credit. All you had to do to earn this offer was spend $10,000 on that card within the first 6 months. To be fair, $10,000 is still a decent amount of money even when it's spread across 6 months. But wait until you hear the minimum spend requirement of the Venture X business. The current welcome offer for the Venture X business card is 250,000 Capital One miles. 250,000. That's more points than the Amex Business Platinum's highest sign-up bonus offer ever. The Venture X business card's minimum spend requirement for this sign-up bonus is broken down into 2 parts. You will receive 50,000 miles after spending $10,000 in the first 3 months, and 200,000 miles after spending $50,000 in the first 6 months. And a 50,000 point sign-up bonus for a premium travel credit card is more trash than Oscar the Grouch in Sesame Street. So that means you probably should be looking at spending at least $50,000 on this card within 6 months to make sure you get the full 250,000 points. However, if you value Capital One miles at a conservative 1.5 cents per point, the total 250,000 point sign-up bonus will be worth a whopping $3,750. But you are also earning points on all that spend that you are doing to hit the minimum spend requirement. So if you spend the full $50,000 at the bare minimum 2x reward multiplier, you will receive 100,000 points just from purchases alone. That then brings our total sign-up bonus points to 350,000 Capital One miles, which is worth $5,250. Now that's an incredible sign-up bonus. However, the sky-high 50,000 minimum spend requirement is still so damn expensive, which is one reason why the Venture X business card is hard to get. But the third major difference between the Business Venture X and the Personal Venture X is the real reason why most of us won't be able to get this card. Before I give it away to you, take a look at the current landing page for this card and tell me if you see anything different or out of the ordinary. Did anything catch your eye? There is no button or link to apply for this credit card. If you actually noticed that, then props to you, Mr. Super Observant Internet Detective. But if you missed it, perhaps you should consider subscribing down below to work on your credit card observation skills. Since there's no link to apply for this credit card, how can you get the Venture X business? Well, so far, the only way to apply is through a Capital One relationship manager. And if for some reason you don't have a Capital One relationship manager like the rest of us, apparently you could just call and request one to be assigned to you. To be fair, I do not know if there are any requirements to have a relationship manager be assigned to you. I couldn't find any information online stating if you needed to have a Capital One business account or if you needed to have a minimum balance in your Capital One accounts, or maybe literally anyone can talk to a Capital One relationship manager. I really don't know. So if you have some insight on that, please educate me by leaving a comment down below. But just because you get in contact with a relationship manager, it doesn't mean that you will be approved for the Venture X business. You will 100% have to answer a bunch of different questions about you and your business, so it's best to be well prepared beforehand. And only after that conversation will the relationship manager either approve or deny your application. This is where you might get into some problems because pretty much every other business credit card you apply for will probably give your initial decision using an algorithm. In those cases, you would only have to talk to a real person in certain circumstances, which makes it a lot easier to go through the application process and be approved. I have seen people state that this may only be temporary and a public, easy-to-use application link will be available to the public in the near future for the Venture X business. Another small thing to note is that if you are approved for this card, it will not count towards your Chase 524 rule. So who is this card really for? Is it worth going through the high minimum spend and the trouble trouble of getting in contact with a relationship manager to get this card, honestly, it's probably not worth it for most of you out there. I would not immediately recommend this credit card. As we briefly went over earlier in this video, the Business Venture X is almost identical to the Personal Venture X. So if you don't have either credit card, I would much rather you go for the personal version instead. However, if you could afford the $50,000 spend and you are charming enough to win over the heart of a Capital One relationship manager, by all means, go for this card. That sign-up bonus alone makes it so worth it. Because if those two major obstacles and differences of the Venture X business aren't that major for you, then you will enjoy the value that you'll receive that is at the core of this business credit card. Or if you aren't ready for the Venture X business, take a look at this video here to view a much better list of business credit cards that are right for you. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Shoots.